$75 billion a year from our tax dollars, and then turning around and denying critical care that people need on private Medicare Advantage plans. Healthcare is a human right, and Medicare should be a rock-solid guarantee to that fundamental right. But what we're seeing all too often is that these privatized plans, in these privatized plans, is that huge insurance corporations are defrauding taxpayers and not delivering the care they're required to provide. It's the patients who suffer as a result. An estimated 10,000 people die every year from wrongful delays and denials. I'll repeat that, an estimated 10,000 people die every year from wrongful delays and denials on private Medicare Advantage plans. So we're here today to say that that has got to end. We have a really jam-packed program, and I'm not going to take up any more time. We'll hear from Senator Warren and members of Congress in a moment. But first, I think it's really important to start with the why we are fighting here, and to hear from people who have experienced the real fallout of these privatized plans and the fallout of corporate greed on steroids in Medicare Advantage plans right now. I'm going to turn it over to Judy, our partner from the Center for Medicare Advocacy, to introduce Megan Bent.
Let's thank Be a Hero and Adi Barkan, who can't be with us today, but is with us today. We're so glad to have you all here. I'm the founder and executive director of the Center for Medicare Advocacy. I'm here to introduce one of the heroes, and well, a heroine of this fight, Megan Bent. Megan Bent is the daughter of Professor and veteran Gary Bent, who was a fighter for justice and peace, but even with the help of educated advocates, was unable to get the coverage he was eligible for and needed desperately from his Medicare Advantage plan. And furthermore, as a professor at the University of Connecticut, he did not choose his Medicare Advantage plan. The state of Connecticut retirees, like many other retirees, have been put into a Medicare Advantage plan. Megan will tell you on behalf of her mother, Gloria Bent, and her family, how poorly served he was by that plan. In fact, he did not survive that Medicare Advantage experience. Thank you, Megan.
Shame on them.
Come on, Megan. Woo!
Thank you for the introduction, Judy. Is my volume okay?
Yeah.
Okay. My father was dedicated to creating change and doing what he could to make the world a better place. I remember coming to DC to protest apartheid with him when I was a kid. And I know that being here today and sharing his story, is a way to continue his legacy and to continue to fight for him. My dad had been treated with immunotherapy for 2 years for melanoma. A year had passed with no treatment, and we all celebrated thinking that he was in remission. Then Memorial Day of 2022, my dad woke up and he couldn't remember how to tie his shoes or how to make eggs, and he asked to be taken to the emergency room. There we learned that there was a lesion in his brain and it was bleeding. The lesion and hematoma were removed surgically on June 1st, and pathology confirmed what we feared, that melanoma had returned. He came out of surgery with significant cognitive and mobility complications. He had upper body weakness. He couldn't walk. He had left neglect, which meant that his brain no longer registered that his body had a left side. And he was heartbreakingly confused and disoriented. His neurosurgeon wanted him transferred to an acute rehabilitation and skilled nursing hospital for intense physical, occupational, and speech therapy. Gaylord Hospital for Specialty Care, which has an outstanding reputation, had a bed for him and accepted him as a patient. And we were pleased that he would be receiving their services. June 8th, the date of my father's transfer to Gaylord, came and went. We were still waiting on insurance to approve. Then third-party authorization determined that my dad couldn't withstand the intense therapy, even though his neurosurgeon felt it was appropriate. My mom and I had to research local short-term rehab facilities, select 3, and hope that they would be approved. on June 14th, 1 week after he was supposed to go to Gaylord, my dad was transferred to a short-term rehab and skilled nursing facility. Before the staff there could even evaluate my dad or develop a plan of care, we were contacted by Navi Health. Somebody who said they were our care coordinator had called us. We had never heard of Navi Health, and until recently we were not aware that they used AI algorithms in their care determination process. The care coordinator said that my dad would be discharged in 2 weeks on July 4th. Our job, she said, was to find the safest location for him to be brought to. And since my dad would most likely be a wheelchair user, she recommended skilled nursing at self-pay. If he was to come home, then my parents were going to need to move into a wheelchair accessible place. I spent much of last summer trying to balance work, being there for my dad, advocating for his care, and looking for an accessible apartment we could all move into together. After that first phone call from Navi Health, my mother shared our concerns about the call with the rehab staff, and she was told that we had just entered a battlefield in terms of my dad receiving the care he needed, that we could expect regular reviews of his health notes, a series of notices of denial of Medicare payment accompanied by a discharge date, that we could appeal those denials, but that after we won a couple of appeals, we could expect the frequency of those denials to increase. In the 7 weeks that my dad was at skilled nursing, we received 3 of those notices. The last 2 came 4 days apart. We won 2 of the appeals and we lost the 3rd. My dad was discharged on August 7th. He came home that evening by ambulance and was accompanied by an EMT who told us that he seemed to have a low-grade fever and had complained of headaches and neck pain with every bump in the road. Early the next morning, we had to call emergency services because he didn't know who he was, where he was, or even who we were. He was taken to Yukon Health Center where he stayed because he had been discharged with bacterial meningitis. During that time, he lost all the functions he had worked so hard, thank you so much, for at the rehab center. And after leaving the hospital, he came home to the accessible apartment we found, and my mom and I took care of him and spent quality time together until he passed away on March 3rd. Reappearance of melanoma pulled the rug out from under my dad and our family, and then came the added trauma of having to fight to keep him receiving care he needed. This should not be happening to families and patients. It is cruel, and we all felt the cruelty of these decisions and the unnecessary stress it caused us during an already traumatic time. Our family continues to struggle with the question, why are people who are looking at patients only on paper or through the lens of an algorithm making decisions that deny services judged necessary by people's healthcare providers, people who interact with them personally and sometimes have known them for years. I know that I can't change the past, but it's been hard for me not to dwell on how things may have been different for my father and for our family if he had just received the care he needed when he needed it. And our family continues to share our story because we don't want other families to go through the same heartbreaking process that we did. I am going to introduce advocate Jen Coffey that I've had the honor of spending the day with. Share your story, Jen.
Hi, I'm Jen Coffey from Manchester, New Hampshire. I'm a member of People's Action Care Over Cost campaign. For about 20 years of my life, I worked in healthcare. For the better part of the last decade as an EMT. I owned a home, I worked my ass off to buy it, and mostly by holding down more than one job. At 42, a routine mammogram revealed breast cancer. Within less than a month, I would work my last shift in the ER and never respond to another 911 call again. Within 11 months, my entire life as knew it was ended, and I lost everything. I became bedbound for 2 years. I developed CRPS, Complex Regional Pain Syndrome, and small fiber neuropathy. CRPS is also known as a suicide disease. It's the most painful disease known to medicine, and yet it has not one single approved treatment by the FDA. United Healthcare loves to use that fact as an excuse to deny care. I have no idea how I ended up on a Medicare Disadvantage plan. My health got bad and my stays in the hospital so frequent I had no quality of life left. The pain became so bad I talked to my doctor about signing a DNR, a do not resuscitate order. I did a GoFundMe, I sold everything, including my car, and I bought my way into treatments. United Healthcare, Medicare, Disadvantage refuses to cover those treatments. I raised enough money to pay for them, and over 5 years now, I've been the only one fighting to keep myself alive. I went to a meeting and I found out that there were people who were willing to help me fight. It wasn't an easy decision to make, going public, sharing some of the worst moments of my life. It took a public social media campaign and 4,000 signatures on a petition to get United Healthcare to talk to me. They didn't like the embarrassment, considering that my videos launched the same day that they were bragging about an $8 billion profit for just the first quarter. That's only 3 months of this year. They deny care while pocketing our premiums. You know, United Healthcare said that they would pay for my infusion after all of that, but when the cameras went away, so did the approval department. It was friggin' bullshit. They lied to me.
That ain't right.
And we're still fighting. Recently, I asked Senator Hassan to help me, and within 2 days of her office reaching out, United Healthcare was back on the phone with me. I had 2 of their employees insist that my infusion was about to be covered, but they were never willing to put it in writing. In the end, they gave my doctor instructions on how to submit the bills in a whole new way. There was a new website, a new toll-free number, and a department that none of us have ever heard of. They sent a nice circular letter of speech that ended with nothing being approved. At this moment, we're still waiting to see if they pay or if I do as usual. I cannot give up. My life depends on it. I'm fighting back because I'm tired. I'm tired of talking to United Healthcare employees who get to override the care and medications by doctor's order while having not one shred of medical knowledge to make that decision. Recently, I had a denial happen within seconds of submitting the form. I received a text message telling me I was denied. Immediately after, the service navigator said to me, "Oh, I thought that was going to happen. It's the name of the medication." So a computer decided. A keyword gave me an instant denial and instructions on writing an appeal. My Medicare Disadvantage plan is going to kill me. I want medical freedom, where my care decisions are made by my providers and me, not representatives reading out of a manual or a computer algorithm. We truly need Medicare for all. It's the only way to end healthcare inequality. It's the only way to ensure the working class get the same care as the rich and pampered elites. And with that, I thank you. Thank you.
I wish that we didn't have to share our stories in order for people to wake up and pay attention to what is happening to Medicare, to what has happened as private corporations have taken over more of our public good. And while Congress is beginning to wake up to this issue, there are few members of Congress who have been leading the charge on trying to raise an alarm here. Many of them are here with us today, but I have the pleasure of introducing Senator Warren, who has really led this charge.
Thank you very much. So thank you. We are here to raise the alarm about Medicare Advantage. We are here to protect our Medicare. This is a wonderful grassroots movement. It is a reminder that when we fight together, we have the power to make real change. But this is also a movement with strong leaders, and I want to say a very special thank you to one of those leaders, my good friend Adi Barkan, and the organization he founded, Be a Hero. Adi and Be a Hero are helping lead the charge to reclaim Medicare. And when Adi leads I am honored to have the chance to get in the fight alongside him. I also want to say a very special thanks to the people who've told their stories today. It's not easy to get up and talk about your medical circumstances. It's not easy to relive the ups and the downs and the downs and the downs. But that's what it takes to wake up America to the problem that is posed by Medicare Advantage. This year, for the very first time, more than half of all beneficiaries are enrolled in Medicare Advantage instead of traditional Medicare. We are watching it shift. But Medicare Advantage substitutes private insurance companies for traditional Medicare coverage. And that private coverage is failing both Medicare beneficiaries and taxpayers. It's all about the money. All about the money. Private insurers are in Medicare Advantage to play games to extract more money from the government. Experts estimate that Medicare Advantage insurers will receive more than $75 billion in overpayments this year alone. $75 billion. How? From not paying your medical bills. And that's the real punch to the gut. Not only do Medicare Advantage insurers rip off the government, they routinely deny care to the patients who need it. In 2021, Medicare Advantage plans denied more than 85,000 people coverage for medically necessary care. Medicare Advantage insurers make money by saying no. They make money by keeping people from getting the care that they need. Seniors and people with disabilities who rely on Medicare deserve better. Can I have an amen on that? Amen! It is time to crack down on these abuses. Instead of giving away extra money to private insurance companies, we can strengthen traditional Medicare. We can strengthen traditional Medicare. And by doing that, we can save money, and we can use some of those savings to expand benefits like hearing, dental, and vision.
Yes.
We could save money, and we could use some of that savings to finally lower the eligibility age for Medicare.
Yes.
It's all about the money. And Medicare money should be spent to deliver services for people, not to boost profits for insurance companies.
Amen.
So we're here today to say, let's reclaim Medicare and keep it strong and healthy for generations to come. When we fight, we win, and Medicare is worth fighting.
Thank you so much, Senator Warren. My name's Alex Lawson. I'm the Executive Director of Social Security Works, and I have the great pleasure of introducing a lifelong champion of the people and someone who understands just in his every fiber of his being what's going on here. The insurers are breaking the rules. They're not allowed to delay and deny care. We all know that. In Medicare, if you get sick, you get the care that you need. That decision is made by a doctor, a provider, and the patient. The insurer is not allowed to insert themselves in between and say no, which is what they're doing. And then they're ripping us off for that privilege of delaying and denying care. And Representative Lloyd from Texas 37th District is a lifelong champion of fighting against these greedy corporations who are putting our lives and our well-being at risk.
Thank you, Alex. You may have noticed there's a little heat out here this afternoon. Well, the goal of this gathering is to turn up the heat on this Congress and on this administration, to do right by all these individuals and millions more across the country who've been disadvantaged by Medicare Advantage.
Yes.
You know, 58 years of security, of quality health care from Medicare, allowing people to live in dignity as individuals with disabilities and seniors. That is reason to celebrate, and we're to the anniversary coming up of that celebration. But so many Americans have fallen victim to slick advertising campaigns or to employers who force them into Medicare Advantage plans, and they have the disadvantage of finding out that they do not have the care that they thought they had when they need it the most. One of the recent ads that I saw on cable promised that some who applied would get free groceries and free rent, most everything but an autographed football from some of these ads. They're billed as a way to keep people healthier and save money. Well, Medicare Advantage has become a cash cow for taxpayers. Each of these individuals who has suffered from a Medicare disadvantage plan, the taxpayers are giving about $1,500 a year more than if they were in traditional Medicare. An independent board, and this is, Elizabeth was talking about the overall overpayment to Medicare, of Medicare Advantage generally, but has estimated that it comes to about $27 billion a year at $1,500 per Medicare recipient. I continue to hear from constituents in Texas who are sick, not only sick health-wise, but they're sick of these misleading advertisements. They're bombarded with marketing calls, and they're shocked when the coverage turns out to be very different from what they were promised. There are fine print caveats, there are high cost sharing provisions, and limited networks that lead to the very sickest patients being denied health care access. Medicare Advantage plans aren't providing better care, they're denying it, as we've heard today. They aren't saving us any money, they're costing us money. The Biden administration finally this year has taken some modest steps to address misleading advertising claims and to rein in the abuse of prior authorization as a tactic to deny and delay care. Unfortunately, it appears to have yielded to insurance lobby pressure by delaying a reduction in the amount that taxpayers are overpaying Medicare Advantage plans. Instead of protecting our taxpayer dollars and ensuring that Medicare is around here for our grandchildren, Republicans prefer to protect private insurance executives and their excessive profits in what they deceptively call Medicare Advantage. In a new Congress after the 2024 election, when we have some new members over here who want health care that's better for more people, our goal should be better Medicare with coverage for dental, vision, and hearing, and coverage of more people, and a strengthened Medicare trust fund that is solvent indefinitely. Traditional Medicare has provided exceptional care for generations of Americans, and it's a responsibility of our part to keep it that way. We must stop the drumbeat of privatization and death by 1,000 cuts to Medicare. Medicare is a lifeline, a safety net for our health. We will not give up until we protect and strengthen and expand Medicare for the future. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Pizzitola. I am president of the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. Today, I brought with me almost 70 retirees from New York City. Standing out here in this heat. We are here for a few reasons. One, we've been fighting the city of New York and unfortunately our former unions who were sold by insurance companies telling them that they can give us free insurance and that they would benefit from the savings, thereby forcing us into Medicare Advantage and taking us off of our Medicare and our city supplemental plan. The city, every time we won, and we've sued them in court now, we have 3 separate litigation cases actively running. We have won 6 times, and every single time we've won, the city has gone around the judge's order to try to find a way to force us into Medicare Advantage. We are here today not only to just expose all of the issues with prior authorization, wrongful delays and denials of care, we're also adding that retirees who have served their employer or their union or any employer here in the city of whatever city that they're from sea to shining sea, should not be forced into Medicare Advantage plans. We earned our Medicare and we want to be in Medicare. Thank you. I would like to introduce Congress Congresswoman DeLauro from the 3rd District, there you are, from the 3rd District of Connecticut. She has been a strong advocate for protecting not only people who are on Medicare, who are being forced into plans like Medicare Advantage like we are, she's already trying to protect people who are in them and who are having trouble. Thank you for your work.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you so much, Mary, and thank you for your very, very strong voice. And again, a thank you to Alex and to Jamila and to my colleagues here today. I first need to, and a shout out to Addie Barkin and organizing us, and speaking of being heroes, he is a hero, and there we go. But let me also recognize Judy Stein, who is here today. Executive Director of the Center for Medicare Advocacy. She founded it in 1986, and she has lent her expertise and a helping hand to countless older people and those with disabilities. I must tell you that the entire Connecticut Congressional Delegation, we don't have an event regarding Medicare without Judy Stein being present. And we build it around her schedule. I promise you that. She really is a treasure. I'm so proud that we have her in Connecticut. I thank you for your commitment and dedication. Judy, you're really outstanding. My colleagues who are here, you heard from Senator Warren, from Lloyd, you've got Ro Khanna here, Mark Kokin. I don't know if Katie Porter and Barbara Lee will make it. Where are you, Katie? I see you. Great. Katie and Barbara Lee is supposed to be here as well. We need to thank Megan Ben, Coffee, for having the courage to tell their stories today. What their loved ones have suffered exposes the harms of Medicare Advantage. Despite what those television commercials, would have you believe, free toasters, free groceries. I mean, it's madness, that they're getting away with. But all of you, your stories make the difference. You are the face of this debate. You are the face of this this action, and you have great courage in standing up and speaking out. Today is a call for action to protect people on Medicare, and that means strengthening traditional Medicare, stopping wrongful delays, denials of care for people on privatized plans, and kick the bad actors out of Medicare Advantage. Now, access to basic quality health care is one of the most important issues that face our nation today. And that is why it is time to call out so-called Medicare Advantage for what it is. It's private insurance that profits. How does it profit? It profits by denying coverage and using the name of Medicare to trick our seniors. I think you all read the article last October where we say that the cash monster was insatiable, how insurers exploited Medicare for billions of dollars, and what they have been accused of in court of fraud, accused by fraud by a whistleblower, accused of fraud by the U.S. government, overbilled according to the Inspector General. And the Medicare Advantage overbilling exceeds entire agency budgets. So this is outrageous. And we need to take this article to heart. It should be something that every person who has the opportunity to participate in this debate needs to know about. Wendell Potter, president of the Center for Health and Democracy, said, and I quote, "Medicare Advantage is neither Medicare nor an advantage. In fact, it is a disadvantage." So it is time to eliminate the confusion that private insurers have relied upon for years. Yes, they've relied upon this for years. They enroll unsuspecting seniors. What we need to do is to restore Medicare as the primary health plan for older Americans, the plan that they rely on. We can get this done together. We really can. Never lose sight of the power that we have to stand up and make the fight. Because as said before, when we fight together, we win together. So to all of the advocates and the activists here today, remember, it's Congress, my friends. Congress is an institution that responds to external pressure. You are the external pressure. Continue to speak out.
Yes.
Make your voices heard. And never take no for an answer. We need to stop their outrageous activities. We have to stop them from ripping off our seniors and our society.
And our government.
Thank you very much.
like to ask all of my New York City retirees, I want to try to get you home and in some air conditioning. So please meet me over towards the canopy end, and we're going to start crossing the street and try to get us home. Thank you for all of you for listening to us, and I'm passing this to
Anna Lilia.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope my fellow New York, New Jerseyans make it home safe. Thank you.
Medicare is a right. Fight, fight, fight. Medicare is a right. Fight,
That's
fight,
right.
fight.
Okay, everyone, I'm going to close this here because it's getting really hot and my phone's getting hot too, and I want to try to get everybody back to the train station. So we'll follow up with another video later on and do a recap, but thank you for following us and doing everything you possibly can in supporting what we've been doing here. That you brought about 70 retirees to Washington, D.C. to be heard, and we'll have more on this later. Thank you.